Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration, leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Todd Cole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow-through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
Hey y'all, Cole Whitty with the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. And we haven't put out an episode in a week. And as I've kind of been saying on the show, we've really been reevaluating where we're putting our time. Right now we are so limited time-wise and organizing systems. And that really is leading into my conversation for today in the coaching world that I think is really, I don't know if it's unfair or inappropriate or what the word is, but what I want to talk about today is 7 figures is so not sexy. And that might be surprising for you to hear. Maybe you haven't heard anyone say that before, because I think that in the coaching realm, you have so many folks that are proclaiming, I'm 7 figures, or I can help you get to 7 figures. Look, there are some people that reach 7 figures where that is the case and they have simple systems to get them there. But overall, my experience, and I've worked with 7-figure, 8-figure, even 9-figure coaches. And so I feel that I can actually speak to this with a lot of confidence and experience, not some rhetoric or making things up. For those that don't know, Ta and I have been facilitators for quite a while, 7 years facilitating, 15 years in the space of psychedelics. And so a lot of our clients were 7 and 8-figure coaches, people that hit a wall and really had to use their wealth they had built to get their health back. And I can't tell you how often we saw what we now call the transformation trap, tirelessly repeating a painful process. So if their relationship was great, their money crashed. If their money was great, their relationship crashed. If their business was great, their health crashed. If their health was great, their relationship crashed. And so as we've been building a business, something that I've been sharing honestly and openly a whole lot more is how not sexy it is at 7 figures. So on one level, we've been celebrating that our business has generated 7 figures in the last year in revenue, right? And the problem with that is I'm making less money right now than I have made in my pocket in probably 10 years. Like, I'm not exaggerating. It was probably about 2012. The last time I was making like $7,000 a month just on my own. And so the thing that's so crazy is when we were facilitating, I was making great money consistently, right? And we were closer to like the $30,000 or like $300,000 a year from facilitating. And building a business is such a different experience. It's just so crazy. And I wanted to break down a bit more of why that is, because I don't want you to get sold this sexy idea of 7 figures and you can be a millionaire. Making 7 figures does not make you a millionaire. You have to also be, they call it, when you're looking at business, they look at a top line and a bottom line. Your top line is how much money is coming in. Your bottom line is how much money is left. Okay. After expenses and bills and taxes and all of that stuff, because the top line does not matter. It literally doesn't matter. It makes you feel good in a ego sense or to hit a metric or a goal or a benchmark, but it is a fallacy of wealth. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, because I want to share even more what it's been like for us. Like, part of what doing the work with psychedelics has allowed me to do is to learn to let go. And the reason that's been really, really important in building a business is because, like, in this last year, I don't even know how many overdraft fees we've had. We never had that before. Or, it's been years and years and years, and it was like 1. I've had months, y'all, where I'm getting 30 overdraft notices, because when you start digging or you start building, this bigger infrastructure, you're not moving $10, $20, $30 here or there. You're moving $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, which means one poor calculation, one late payment, one client, and then you quantify that or you multiply that if I've got 50 people that are supposed to be paying $500 a month and 10 don't for whatever reason, that's $5,000. Okay. So then if suddenly I can't pay my rent and I'm getting the $40 a day late fee for rent and I'm getting $15 overdraft over here, it's like I'm watching as even more money is just getting absorbed and absolved into nothingness. And so you might see on paper all these coaches that are traveling all over the world, and you can do that, all right? Ta and I did, but here's what's crazy. When we traveled, we spent the year traveling the world, and we went to, we've been to Israel, we've been to Peru, however many times. We have lived in Thailand for a month. We've done, across the United States 4 times. We've gone to Spain and France and Italy and done all of this stuff, which was great. But, most of our travel, y'all, was when we were making less than $30,000 per year. Per year. Yeah. Or at least from Ta's side. And then let's say that mine was another 15. Let's get crazy with it and say we made $60,000 that year. Let's get crazy. Like, let's double it just to ensure I'm not actually bullshitting you or something. And my poor math skills are coming in right now. The reason that worked is because we had no bills. We did not have a mortgage, and we were able to let everything go. We sold everything, got rid of everything, got down to one car that was a Hyundai, what was that car? Veloster 2-door. And we had no other obligations. We had filed bankruptcy. We had nothing to lose by going and traveling. The reason we ended up in Thailand, which sounds super sexy, like, yes, we were in Koh Tao, living on the beach. We had one apartment that was up in the jungle. We're taking scooters around an island, sunsets, on every night. But part of the reason we went to Thailand is because we couldn't afford anywhere in the United States. And I had gotten a notification of flights to Thailand for $450 round trip through Bangkok. We didn't know what we were going to do when we got there. We didn't research Thailand. It moved very quickly. We just said, screw it, let's go. After paying for our plane tickets, we would have $1,000 left to survive and rebuild our business and try to figure out what's next. And so what was important at the time is that I knew we needed to feel abundant, even if we didn't have financial resources. Because that feeling of abundance is what we wanted to create from, not scarcity or deficit or not enoughness or out of fear. And so we got on a plane, we landed in Bangkok. We had booked 2 nights in an Airbnb in Bangkok, and that's all we planned for. Other than that, we didn't know where we were going to go or what we were going to do or where we would end up. We said, let's just get there and we'll figure it out. We have technology, we've got the internet, we've got Airbnb, we'll figure it out. So after landing in Bangkok, our first Airbnb was super sketchy. There's signs all over this apartment building that you will be penalized for staying at an Airbnb. You can't stay here. You'll be arrested. All this crazy stuff. So we're standing in this lobby like, okay, so this is a thing. What do we do? So whatever, we decide to just go with the flow. We stay at this Airbnb. The first day we just slept, because it was like 26 hours of travel until we got there. We went through Shanghai and we slept. And then as soon as we got there, I think we crashed 8 hours, got up and then started to go and see Bangkok. And as we did get on a tuk-tuk, everyone's like, don't get on a tuk-tuk. We get there and one pulls up and we look at each other. We're like, we are 100% going on a tuk-tuk. We're not one to follow why people do or don't do things. We follow our own impulses and desires. So we get in a tuk-tuk. This tuk-tuk takes us to a couple sites we want to go to. Then we go down the river. We go see all of these temples. It was amazing. We still don't know what we're going to do. This tuk-tuk takes us to a tourism spot. That's part of what they get paid to do. You pay them a small amount, but they really get paid by other businesses to get you to their business. So there's 2 places they took us. They took us one to a travel agency because we didn't know where we were going to go. So we're like, screw it. Let's go talk to a travel agent. We sit down with this woman. She's telling us about these places we could go in Chiang Mai or, go to Koh Tao or go to other, go to Phuket. And I'm reading, as I'm looking at this pamphlet, I'm Googling on my phone. And researching some of these hotels, and they have the worst reviews. Not only that, she wants to charge us $600 for like a week. And we only have $1,000. I'm like, there's no way that it costs $600 in Thailand for these places. This is tourism tax. So I've traveled enough all over the world to know that they are literally price gouging you for being American, which is fine. Do what you got to do. Just you learn better as you travel and as you grow. And so I'm Googling these places and I look at Ta and I said, we're like, yeah, we're going to go for a walk and we're going to talk about it and see if we're going to do it. Absolutely, we were never going to do it. $600 for a week. We need a month. Like, that's not an option. It's not going to work. So now I saw what island she was talking about, which was Koh Tao. And I start to Google and search online, and I find that we can take a bus for $9 down there. I don't remember how many hours it was. It was like 6 hours or 7 hours or 9 hours, something like that on a bus. But it's a nice bus. You know, it's not one of those like super rundown, crazy things you see on Instagram sometimes. It's a nice bus. So we take the bus down to Koh Tao. I find us an Airbnb that's $20 per day back in the jungle. So we stay at this $20 per day. And then we find another one on the beach because it turns out I didn't like staying back in that jungle condo because it was so dark. It was under so much jungle foliage that what I really needed was sun. This was wintertime in the States. I need sun, especially if I'm in a dark place. Sun is critical for my mental health, and I know that. And so Ta's like, well, then let's go stay somewhere else. And I let my money stories get in the way for a minute. And I was just like, no, we've already paid for here. We've only got $1,000. Like, you know, we have to buy food, all this stuff for a month. He's like, I don't care. Like, we're not staying here. So we book another place on the beach for $20 per day. Y'all, I spent every evening sitting on the beach, staring at the sunset. Our meals were like $3 each. Okay. And I'll tell you the full story of Thailand sometime because it was an incredible experience. And then we went to this coffee shop every day to work and we wrote and we felt wealthy. We felt like abundant. And that's when we first started to understand that we have to create from the energy of wealth. That does not mean you've got X amount of money in your bank account. It is an experience to feel wealthy, to feel abundant. Abundant is not a metric. Abundant is not a 7-figure business. So over the course of that month, we were able to launch new things. We had started a podcast called Expand to Experience. We were doing all this stuff. And all of this to say, I felt wealthier there in Thailand at that moment than I have felt in this last year. And that includes living in a high-rise in downtown Austin, where I had access to everything. And not to get it twisted, I loved my 1-year high-rise experience because that's what I signed up for. I wanted to experience something I never had before, which was a corner unit, epic views, sunsets. And I'm starting to understand now the power of sunsets for me. And as I'm even processing that now, even more so of how being in Thailand and watching the sunset was so impactful and really changes my sleep patterns and my circadian rhythm and who knows whatever else. But I felt wealthy. I felt abundant. And when you keep getting notifications from your bank of overdraft over overdraft over overdraft, and you're hustling to transfer from here to there, and you have to pay team, and you're paying for live events, and we're not even paying for ads, okay? So sweet, we are so awesome and sexy. We built a 7-figure top-line business, but that doesn't necessarily mean you feel wealthy, nor are you actually making any money. And that's really the point of my kind of rant today, is that if you've got this goal of 7 figures, I invite you to pause that idea and write down what kind of lifestyle do you want to have, because your belief that it takes 7 figures to do that is totally wrong. It's totally wrong, y'all. You can have an incredible life at $30K a month. Incredible. Great, fantastic life that has the freedom that you can travel. And yeah, might there be more things to do? Sure, fine. Dream big. I love that for you. I love that you have these big dreams and wonderful things. But people look at this $1 million thing as if that's the golden goose. That's the the white stallion that's going to carry them off as a Pegasus into the sky, when in actuality, what it takes to get to 1 million is systems and team, and at least from what I've witnessed, you might have magical ways of doing things, paying for ads, how are you going to get exposure? That all takes money. And any coach that tells me they didn't have to do any of that to get to $1 million, it was either more than 4 years ago, pre-COVID, right? Or they are lying. They're saying it's top line, not bottom line. And if they're running ads, then I really don't believe them, because ads, not very many people are great at ads. And as someone that's hired companies and now am in conversation with like the best in the business, most people are so full of shit, their eyes are brown. I mean, it's not true, or it's misleading, and they're selling you on this fairy tale, pixie land, magical place. When 30K months, on the other hand, you could have a team of 1. You might still run a little bit of ads, but you don't need to. If you stick to one offer and get really good at it and get really good at the delivery, and just from referrals alone, you will live a beautiful life. Now, here's the deal, y'all. I can't survive on 30K a month anymore because I have teams and live events and all of that stuff costs money. And if it was just up to me, I'd walk away from it tomorrow. Here's the problem. I have a tremendous purpose. And what I mean by that is what I am very clear I am meant to do with my time on this planet is the Condor approach. And in order to increase accessibility, I have to build more free things. In order to build free things, I have to pay a lot of money. And this is another thing people really don't understand, is every time you download a freebie, a freemium, it was not free to make. The funnels, the emails, the thing itself, the hours, even if the person built it all themselves, if you looked at how much money they made for their hours, they made garbage money. Garbage money. Ta and I, at certain points, will, for fun, break down how much we're making per hour, and it's frighteningly low. I would make more money at McDonald's for my hours than I am currently making right now in our business. Now, we have had times of fruitful abundance, and we donated so much money to groups that we love and that we care about because that was important to us. And we are a contribution first business. We are a contribution first couple. We are a contribution first persons, because we've always trusted that whether it's God, source, energy, universe, all that's not, that's what feels in integrity to us. When we had $20 left in our pocket, we would give $10 to someone on the street because we knew $20 wasn't going to save us, but it might save them. We were going to have to get resourceful no matter what. So it was almost like $20 was laughable because it wasn't going to save us, but $20 to that person was like someone handing me $10,000 at that point. And so when you'll look at the scale that way, we knew we'd have to innovate. We knew we'd had to get creative. Then I'd rather make somebody else's day because that money's not going to save me, but it might make a massive impact for them. And I don't care what they go spend it on. That doesn't matter to me. That's irrelevant. It's what they value, what they need in that moment. And so, we haven't been able to do the same contributions this last year is in the form of money. However, we have exponentially done more as far as contributions in communities to bring more accessibility of what we teach to communities that haven't had access to it. Training people on how to use AI, training people how to get their message out. Because as they teach and they teach somebody else, that information, that resource is infinitely valuable. Infinitely valuable. And so many aspects of it 2 years from now are going to be skills people don't even know right now. Some of the stuff that I'm teaching them, the value that's going to be in their life and the life of their kids if they teach their kids. To understand AI, to understand how to bring your ancestral traditions, your shamanism, your mysticism through the lens of AI, because AI works off of information. That's what its intelligence is based upon, is the intellect of humans. And as of now, and so if the only information being fed to it is the same corporatized, colonized, consumeristic information, then that is what's going to inform its intelligence. And so now more than ever before, I want to see more people dive into it that are heart-centered, contribution-driven, here to innovate and elevate humanity. But that's not what today's about. 7 figures. So not sexy. And if you've been to any of our live events, I have walked in with stacks of overdraft fees. And I've said, if you think that where I'm standing right now is a place to get to, you're sorely mistaken. Will this pay off in the future? Totally. Because we've invested in business coaches and systems and things to make that possible for scalability so that we can serve more people. Business calls it scalability. I call it impact. Because in order for me to reach more people, I have to have more free, more ways for them to tune in, more technology, more team, more systems, and all of that is going to cost more money because I can't do any more than I'm doing. And I'm doing an insane amount. Most people would look at my skill sets and they honestly can't believe it because I can do so much more and I can do it so much better than so many agencies because I have been an entrepreneur for the better part of 20 years. 20 years. I was a bartender so first I was a motivational speaker. So from 2000, or technically from 2001 to 2003, I was a full-time motivational speaker. And then from and then I went into bartending because it was soul-sucking actually to be a motivational speaker, which is a story for another day. You're just other people's puppet, or that's what they try to make you to be. Different story for a different day, especially when you're 20 years old. Then I was a bartender. And then, so then let's say that I've been an entrepreneur, let's say authentically 15 years, because I did bartend in there on and off for a smidge. And then I did work for Alex Sharfin doing sales for about 7-ish months, 8 months maybe. Again, I'm doing my best to keep this as focused as humanly possible. If you pedestalize other people and where they are, and you're denying the opportunities that you have, and if you have a computer, if you have a cell phone, you have access to AI technology, you can go to Teachable, you can go to some of these websites and get courses for $15. The people that lean in and get an understanding of AI are going to be exponentially better off 2 years from now. And so whether it's now, whether it's 10 years from now, whether it's you decide to become a millionaire or go after that or not, know that whatever someone is selling you is a piece of the information. Know that the most impactful thing you can do is be resourceful so that no matter what happens to your income, you'll find a way. I knew that I could always go back to bartending. I've cleaned toilets. I've cleaned houses. I've done anything by any means possible to continue bringing money in and then recognize at times that my busyness is not productive and that if I'll take a step back, or as we call it, the 3 Ps, pause, pull back, take a physical scan, am I working so hard that I'm missing my opportunity, that I'm not being resourceful, that I'm not looking bigger picture? Because if you're making $14, $15 an hour and you're not looking at AI, I would be fully dedicated to 20 hours a week learning AI just so that I could start to get work on the side for online entrepreneurs. Because you'd be able to make $25 an hour doing that. Or as Alex Hormozy says, go get your phlebotomist certificate, which takes like a weekend. That's like $500 to $1,000. But then you make $50 an hour. There are other ways to continue to move forward, to move towards wealth, but just be mindful as you witness coaches online who are selling their 7 figures and their big boats or their epic views or all that. That is the season that they're in. And this is really my invitation for you today. I want you to look at business and life as seasons. You have had times that things were easy and fruitful and pleasant, great friends. And then you might have also had those times, if you are human, where it felt like a winter and very lonely and all the relationship dynamics changed and you could not get your head above water financially or otherwise or health or whatever. The coaches selling you are selling you on the fruits of their winter. They have them too, all of them. Everyone that I know has them. And even once it's not money, it's something else. The beautiful thing with money is it gives you options in the wintertime, okay? It helps you buy nice warm clothes when you're going through your winter, which is obviously incredibly valuable. But when someone tells you that they're a millionaire and they can show you how to also, ask them, is that your top line revenue or is that your take-home income? Because there is a huge difference. So don't be sold on somebody else's summer. If you're in your winter, it is a time to build. When you get to spring, it's time to plant. So when you're in planting, that means you're not going to have the fruits of your planting season yet. If you're in the Condor approach, for example, we call it the Puma phase, you're building, you're planting. We are working the fields together to get your ideas planted so that we can help them grow. But that is not a financially fruitful season. It is not an abundant season, but it will be. Nurture it, get community, love, nourishment, and it will be. And then you're going to take all that abundance and gifts and beautiful, fruits, and you're going to feast on them and you're going to celebrate. It's going to be amazing because guess what? Winter's coming. So don't blow it all. I don't know anything about that. So don't blow it all, right? You got to start doing your canning and your storing for winter. But the beautiful thing is, as you go through this process and you learn this, you know how to plan for it. And this is why you hire coaches as you grow, because you want coaches who have experience through these seasons, through the economic changes and the economic turns, because they've learned how to plant, how to grow, how to nurture, and then how to save for winter. I love you so much. Don't get sold on the hype. You are amazing, wonderful, stupendous, magnificent. I hope to see you very, very soon at the Condor Approach. If you don't know if it's the right step for you, book a call, y'all. Let's talk. Learn more. .coach books a call with me for reals. It's me. The business right now is me and Ta, and some master coaches that help out in the program. I can't wait to see you very soon. Be easy, be free, and don't forget,
integration is not optional.